Today, we're taking a deep dive into the brand new 2026 Volvo XC70, and it is a plug-in hybrid. It's a model that revives one of Volvo's most iconic names, but with a completely new identity. And today, we're going to compare it directly to the P3 XC70 to see what changed, what may have improved, and whether this new XC70 still deserves the cross-country badge. So, the first thing you'll notice is that the 2026 XC70 is nothing like the P3 or the ones before it. Instead of the classic long roof wagon shape, Volvo has turned the XC70 into more of a mid-size SUV or almost a crossover. It looks to me like a smaller XC60 if I'm being honest. The whole overall shape and the design especially feels very XC60-ish. The taillights, the profile, the taper, it's all reminiscent of the PA1 platform era. The roofline and overall stance is also leaning more towards a modern crossover than a rugged wagon. Volvo did keep some old callbacks though, just to keep it familiar. It still has black plastic cladding, but not nearly as chunky or pronounced as before. I was actually asked if I'd been in an accident because there was so much black plastic everywhere. The exterior looks a lot more premium than the XC70's prior, so it seems to me less purpose-built and more sleek and elegant. And because the cladding is lighter, it doesn't quite scream rugged off-road adventure machine the way the old ones did. That being said though, it does feel like a less rugged cross-country, but more of a refined modern family crossover. Inside, the new XC70 is completely reset from the classic P3 interior. My first impressions, very, very minimalistic, but maybe a little too minimalistic. It stood out to me that it was bland, not a lot of wood or contrasting trim, but it does have huge screens. I do also really like the seats inside too. They have a really clean and comfortable looking design, and I would say could potentially be better than the old ones. Because the old ones, they feel like I don't know how to put it, like a lazy boy. It does feel really well thought out inside though, and I do also really enjoy the frameless mirrors, whether it be the side mirrors or the center rear view mirror. Specs of the screen is actually pretty nuts because my car's got a 7-inch display in it, and it's a 2012 XC70, but this one's driver display, where the gauge cluster would be, is 12.3 inches, which is a foot, and the big freestanding center screen is 15.4 inches. So they went full screens. Now for the fun stuff, the drivetrain. The 2026 XC70 is available only as a plug-in hybrid, and here's where we get technical. The low-range battery is 21.2 kilowatt hours using the LFP chemistry, and the high-range battery is 39.6 kilowatt hours using the NMC chemistry. The EV-only range is up to 200 kilometers with the bigger battery, which is actually crazy, because that's half a tank of fuel for the old one. And when you combine EV and gasoline driving, the total range is roughly 1200k, which is nuts. Drivetrain configurations consist of a two-wheel drive long range, which is a front-wheel drive with the smaller battery, the all-wheel drive extended range, which is the dual-motor all-wheel drive with the larger battery, and the power figures for the all-wheel drive model are roughly 456 horsepower and 523 foot-pound of torque. And for the front-wheel drive model, which is a smaller battery, smaller motor, is 314 horsepower with 394 foot-pounds of torque. The 0 to 60 for the all-wheel drive variant is 5.9 seconds to 6.3 seconds. And for the front-wheel drive long-range variant, that goes up to 7.8 to 9.4. So the all-wheel drive version is proper quick. Definitely quicker than any stock P3 ever has been. What I found was interesting though with this one is that it supports the vehicle to load, which V2L, to power tools, appliances, camping gear, and more, which is pretty much just an external plug that allows you to use the car's battery as a generator. And for the DC fast charging, if supported, you can go from 0 to 80% in under 25 minutes, which is pretty crazy for a plug-in hybrid these days. Now, the XC70 is launching in China first and built around Chinese regulations and designed for that market's needs. So from what I've seen, China's got a pretty well built up EV infrastructure, and this car would suit very well there. Plus, bringing it here, the import laws and tariffs might make it expensive anywhere in North America. The aftermarket parts and availability may be very limited at first, but being a hybrid, it may not ever have a huge aftermarket. And Volvo's newest hybrids are built mostly where demand is highest, so right now, it is China. Plus, China's infrastructure is huge for them, once again. It's not yet confirmed that the 2026 XC70 will make it to North America, even though Volvo traditionally sells XC70 type or more rugged utilitarian vehicles very well in Canada and the US. Now, comparing it to the P3, starting with P3, it's got the classic Volvo wagon shape and feel, much higher cargo capacity. Its engines and transmissions are very proven because we've had about, give or take, 10 years to study and use them. Great utility and practicality being a wagon. Cheap to maintain, which, I can argue that. Loads of used parts and aftermarket, which is really, really helpful with these cars because some stuff you have to special order and that can get crazy. And very, very affordable on the used market. You can pick up a clean one for even $4,000 or $5,000 now, so it's definitely gone down. Now the bad parts about those. Because they're not making them now, the high mileage examples are very, very common. Mine's hit 290 this week, so it's up there. It's very high. Not fuel efficient, which I can back because I get about 450 kilometers to a tank, which isn't that high. Older infotainment, outdated maps if the car came with it, fewer safety standards by today, and not many modern tech conveniences. Now for the 2026. The good seems to have an extremely high range, not yet proven though, powerful hybrid performance, modern technology, which is all screen. It's a very efficient commuter because you can go 200 kilometers on a single charge, which is pretty crazy. That's, for me, about 5 or 6 trips to work just on EV mode. Much lower fuel consumption. And now the bad part is the higher complexity, being a battery and all the electronics. Maintenance could be expensive, much higher upfront cost, hard to find parts early on, and uncertain North American availability. Now, for wagon lovers looking to upgrade, might be difficult because let's just stick with the P3. The seats up for their cargo volume is about 575 liters, and having the seats down, their cargo volume is 1,600 liters. Now going to the brand new one, having the seats up, you only get 408 liters of space. And having the seats down, not much higher. It's only 1,456. So you're still losing out on a couple hundred liters of space. It is a smaller inside, but then again, you might be better off with the technology that the new one has. Now, comparing the new one to the old one is like comparing apples and oranges. The new one's more of an SUV and has no roof rails, but a full panoramic roof, which I really wish mine had. Lower ground clearance and less exterior cladding, but is a sleeker, more elegant design. And I think it's best suited for modern commuting, short trips in EV mode, very efficient long distance travel, and drivers who want high-tech features. But for the P3, it's more of a traditional wagon, like Volvo's old models. Rugged look, roof rails, plastic cladding, lifted suspension, which I think it's more suited for cargo, like moving or working, road trips, light off-roading, deep snow, camping, pets, and daily commuting. The P3 definitely put utility first, but the new one, I would say more put technology first. And you may be asking, does the 2026 XC70 live up to the cross-country name? In some ways, yes. It's incredibly efficient, has a serious range, and pushes Volvo's hybrid system forward, but is also a very, very different machine. Less rugged, less wagon-like, more polished, digital, and modern. If you love the charm and practicality of the P3, it is a huge shift, But if you want the futuristic XC70 with the big screens, huge EV range, and surprisingly strong performance, the 2026 XC70 might be exactly what you're waiting for. But that's assuming it ever makes it to North America. I know today's video was a little bit different from my usual content, but if you did enjoy it and found it helpful, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.